Welcome back to our channel, Hear Me Out. I'm E.
I'm Dee.
And today we are going to review the movie The Mother. It's on Netflix, featuring J-Lo. So if you guys didn't see it, I think you should check it out. It premiered on Mother's Day. Dee watched it Mother's Day weekend. Eldris, the procrastinator, watched it this afternoon.
Mhm.
Um, I kind of really like the movie. So just a quick synopsis. J-Lo, her name is I don't how do I not know her name?
Because they didn't say her name. In
Really?
the credits, it just said the mother. Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
I was just going by their government names. J-Lo, Omari Hardwick. I know Zoe, the daughter. Okay, just rewind.
Guys,
All right.
wait, hold on. JLo's not her government name.
I
Just,
mean, her nickname.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You guys get it. You guys get it. All right. So just a quick synopsis of the mother. So the mother's clearly J-Lo. Her background, she used to be in the military, and from the looks of the movie, she really didn't have a family or resources. So there was this villain guy named Alvarez, I believe, who kind of took her under her wing, and they kind of started doing a couple shady things. She was a spy. um Eventually she figured out that they were doing something behind her back, and it was human trafficking. um you know that alone is kind of repulsive. She decided to go to the FBI. There she meets Omari Hardwick. His character name is, give me a second, Cruz, her handler Cruz. And, basically, Zoe is not safe. She's trying to tell them, we need to find like a more private location. They're always going to find me, which they really do find her all the time. I don't even know how. Um, you know, I'm gonna call him the bad guy. The bad guy just starts attacking the FBI safe house. J-Lo ends up saving Omari, and the bad guy finds J-Lo in the shower, and then it's revealed that she's pregnant. So clearly, you don't think nothing's gonna happen, right? Like he's probably gonna snatch her somewhere, take her somewhere. No, he stabs her right in the belly. Um, she ends up blowing him up somehow, some way, but he never dies. Villains never die for some reason.
No.
Um, she ends up in the hospital, delivering the baby, of course, and basically she has to give up the baby because, safety issues. They're always
Mhm.
gonna find her. The baby is clearly the bad guys, baby too.
Baby.
So, she decided to give the baby up for adoption. Omari Hardwick, her handler, just basically keeps tabs every year on the girl and lets the mother know how she's doing, if there's any trouble, which there clearly was, and he told her. And then she just came guns a blazing. Just I don't even know why. To be honest, why did the bad guy want, or Alvarez, why did he want his daughter? I don't get it. To kill J-Lo? Still a
Mm.
mystery to me. I don't know. Maybe I totally missed it, but I really thought I was paying attention. Anyways, they end up kidnapping the daughter a few times. J-Lo ends up killing a whole bunch of people a few times. Eventually, not J-Lo, the mother. The mother ends up spending time with Zoe, which is her daughter, and just basically teaches her some life skills before returning her to her home. So that was like handling a gun, killing people, driving, kind
Mhm.
of cool stuff, if you ask me, for like a 12-year-old, survival
Mhm.
stuff. Um, at the end, you know, J-Lo ends up killing the guy. Zoe kind of always knew that that was her mom. And at the end of the day, Zoe's returned to her adoptive parents, but J-Lo kind of seems like she's involved in her daughter's life. I think it was a very endearing movie. What did you think?
Oh man. I don't think it went how I thought it was gonna go.
Yeah, it started off so lame.
I was confused. I was confused in the beginning. And then of course it did make sense once you get to the whole point of like what made her turn away from these bad guys. What I thought was interesting was that she wasn't a victim herself per se, right? Like she was a part of the world. She played along, she facilitated things, and she also committed crimes. So she was not like, oh, helpless damsel in distress kind of character. And yeah, so to see like all of that play out, and I think my theory, the reason why they were all after the mother, both Alvarez and her superior in the military, which is played by Ralph Fiennes. I cannot remember his character name, but Ralph Fiennes, an amazing actor.
Why don't we remember any character's name?
I don't I don't
I
know.
don't
I
even
remember the mother. Remember the mother.
remember.
Um but Ralph Fiennes' character, I thought, he's psycho. I mean they both were, right? The two villains are psycho. Um but I think, them wanting to come after her is not necessarily so much about like the daughter, whoever the father may be, although I have a feeling it's the white guy, Ralph Fiennes. Um, and I think also because she betrayed them, right?
Oh,
And
revenge. Okay.
right. And these are right, like powerful men in this like very underworld, just nasty kind of environment type of thing. The last thing they would want is for a woman to like undermine them, let alone betray them, right? Especially a woman that they were sleeping with, because yes, they both were sleeping with her. Again, very different. She was not exactly shy about the fact that she was involved with both. When she was discussing everything with like her soon to be handler Cruz. So it was pretty interesting. I think also like the whole mother daughter dynamic thing was weird, because like here's this girl who seemingly has no idea like where she comes from, right? Especially this like evil background. And yet like she's supposed to be like this sweet and gentle, wants to play with the wolves and all that stuff kind of girl. And I'm just like,
Not
okay,
the greatest cookie in the cookie jar, by the way.
no. I don't need to have assassin for parents to know that I shouldn't be playing with little wolf pups. No, man. So I thought there was a couple of things that just kind of seemed like weird. Um, and like also, I think that like J Lo, Jennifer Lopez,
The mother.
the mother, she like her character, that hardened attitude, that she had, especially with being a mother, it was interesting because, everyone has different sort of relationships with their mothers, whether it's biological or not, you know, your relationships can vary. And I think that it's something we don't realize until we're adults later in life, that our parents, our mothers specifically, are limited in their mothering, right? Based on whatever they grew up with, whatever they know of. They're just going off of that. So we don't know like these things when we're a teenager, like her daughter Zoe, and we're just assuming all the worst things in the world. And of course, she has every right to think that she was left to be adopted, so she of course thinks negatively. But there was a point where a character, I believe it was the older man character, talked to Zoe and just basically said like, she's showing you love in the only way she knows how. And I thought that was very poignant, especially given it was Mother's Weekend, of course, because, people have complicated relationships with their mothers, and sometimes we don't fully understand why they do the things that they do.
Or any parent for that matter.
Or any parent.
Guardian,
Yeah.
grandparents, even friends. I don't even know.
It's
But I
true.
thought a point that you made earlier was that she was the mother was a part of that world. And
Hmm.
for her to have like a moral compass almost like, we
Yeah.
can't do this. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, do bad guys have moral compasses,
So obviously she drew the line at
Hmm.
the human trafficking. I mean, yeah, I would hope so.
Oh, that broke my heart.
Oh my God, I know. And then she like immediately threw up, which is like, yes, totally. Um, And then I think that was also kind of like another thing that I thought was interesting was like because she thought she was like in control, right, in this world. Like she was like handling everything, and she had these guys like all wrapped around in it, but she had no full idea who these people were. Not really, because here they were behind the scenes, behind her back, doing this stuff that obviously was her hard line. I'm not doing this. And so yeah, so I thought that was like I think the backstory of it all is really what I found to be like the most interesting, mainly because again, she was not a victim. This, of course, her having to give up her parental rights to her daughter, um, it was an act of mothering, keeping her
Mhm.
safe as best as she possibly could, and that couldn't have been easy, right? So I don't think at any point her character was ever like a victim. I don't think her character was ever like, oh, like I said earlier, damsel in distress. So it was a different version of what a mother is, but ultimately, deep down to the core, she did what every mother would do, which is protect her child at all costs, no matter what.
Now, what did we think about J-Lo's acting?
So, man, okay. I have a love-hate relationship with like her movies because I love her rom-coms. Love her rom. I think she is a rom-com queen, like total of it. But when she
Mhm.
does some of these more dramatic roles, I don't know. I can't. I can't. I don't even know what the words to say. It's just like,
I feel like I have J-Lo in this bubble, and this bubble should move out of Hollywood.
ugh,
I don't think, when we were kids, we saw J-Lo,
yeah,
Selena, we were like, oh my God. But it was basically a Selena thing.
yeah.
J-Lo's characters or Jennifer Lopez characters in Made in Manhattan, Monster-in-Law, what's the
The
other
wedding
ones?
planner.
The Wedding Planner. Why don't I remember her names? First of all, like I feel the character name. Why doesn't that resonate with me? I feel like if I'm watching, I don't know, Meryl Streep, I think of Miranda Priestley. Devil Wears Prada. Like
Queen.
I know like names and J-Lo, I can't remember names.
Mm.
I don't think that she's extraordinary. I think she might be different in Hollywood, like she's the pepper of it all, but I don't think she acts well. Huh?
She said Pepper.
Well, I mean, okay, use whatever other metaphors that
Condiment?
you want. Yeah, condiment that you want. I don't, I think it was believable towards the end of the movie where she had broken her arm and she was trying the last resort to save her daughter.
Mhm.
And I felt that pain. So why did an
Yeah.
hour and 45 minutes go through? I can't remember the mother's name. I guess they never mentioned it now that I learned. But it just wasn't believable. I was trying to, immerse myself in the movie. I was immersed in Omari Hardwick's character,
You were. Of
the
course you
biggest
were.
crush. Hi, have you seen me? Um, she doesn't do it for me. I mean, I don't mean to offend anybody that's a J-Lo fan. Again, we love everybody.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. She should just retire from singing and acting.
Oh no, no! Y'all don't listen to her, please. Not. I may have to edit that part out. Wow.
Why?
Anywho,
That's how
so
I feel.
which I read an article not long after the movie came out that said if you're a JLo fan, you'll love the movie. If you're not a JLo fan, meh, probably not. And I think that like I would say I am a JLo fan, so I did enjoy it. But it's not something where I feel like, well, I want to see it again. Like I can
Oh,
watch
for
The Wedding
sure.
Planner again. I can watch Made in Manhattan again. Like there are certain JLo movies Selena, of course I can watch 1,000,001 times. I already have. So, but like, yeah, going back to what I was saying, some of her more dramatic roles, I'm not necessarily like a big fan of. And recently, actually, a few months ago, I rewatched Enough,
Hmm.
and I thought that was a great movie, and she did well. But there were some parts of her where you could tell that she was a lot greener back then, right? She still was like pretty young and new, like on some Hollywood scene and everything. So some parts was like,
You
girl,
don't think she's still green?
no, I
I'm
really
asking.
don't.
I don't know what you think.
She could have been nominated for an Oscar, and she totally got
For
some
this
like,
movie? Absolutely
no,
not. Oh,
no.
okay.
For Hustler, she played the stripper Ramona. See, I remember
Oh,
her name.
you know, I didn't even like her in Hustlers.
I think that was the point. I think you were not supposed to like her. I think she was this character that you were supposed to not really, root for, which, I didn't.
No, I mean, I didn't like her acting
Oh
in
gosh.
Hustlers. Oh, Cardi B did a better job.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well,
It's
somebody's party gang over here. Um, but I think, right, like, and hear me out.
okay.
These are our opposing views. I think that like she does have some range. It is there because I've seen, that she has had some roles that she's
Okay.
done really well. And in Hustlers, she was not the lead. J Lo's usually never, the co-star, like second on the sheet, call sheet type of thing. J Lo's always top billing, right? And it's
Hmm.
been that way for over a decade, like over 15 years.
Hmm.
But in Hustlers, she wasn't the top star. She wasn't, the main person. And the way that she did that role, I mean, she would have been nominated if she hadn't been snubbed for supporting actress award with the Oscars. She was nominated for, I believe it was the Golden Globes, for supporting actress. And so I think she did do, like, especially in that role, a really good job. And I think it helped that J Lo's always kind of seen as, like, a very sexy woman, a very, like, out there sort of person. And when you think of her, you think of luxury, you think of beauty, you think of like sexiness, right? And so that role, being a stripper, I mean, that, like, I think really suited her because it was like tapping
Hmm.
in a little bit further into what she's already kind of like looked at. So that worked out. But then when I see her like in these sort of dramatic roles, like with this movie, there was times where I was like, okay, so you're having all these fights. You're like running from bad guys. You're shooting up a storm. You're getting shot at. You're like rolling down the hill, whatever. Your hair's immaculate. Like, ma'am,
It is Hollywood,
I'm
you know.
not telling you to like turn into Charlize Theron in that one movie. I think it was called Monster, where she like actually won an Oscar and all that
Yeah.
for it.
Hmm.
I'm not telling you to go full on ugly. No, that's not it, ma'am. But there should be some believability, if that's either way. There should be something believable about what you're doing. But you got your J Lo hair on, and you're okay. Like,
I do have to commend her on her prep work for these movies, though.
okay,
Actual
okay.
acting. I would say, her athleticism, clearly,
Oh
all the
yeah.
things that she does. In Hustlers, we saw how she was just transforming her body just for that
Hmm.
role. We see her in movies like The Wedding Planner, where she has a more soft-looking
Hmm.
appearance, and, you know, I think she preps well.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
I have to agree with you. She has some range. I just would have liked for her to like develop more as an actress. Like I think she's just
Yeah,
okay. She's not impressive to me. I
yeah.
think there's like a whole list of better actors, actresses.
Right. And that's, like I said, there's going to be people, like I read in that article, that like if you're fans of her, you'll enjoy the movie. You'll love it. But if you're not, it's not gonna be your cup of tea. But yeah, that was my thoughts.
So, scale 1 to 10, I guess. What do we rate the movie?
I'd give it a 7.5.
Ditto. It's entertaining enough for 2 hours, but it
Right.
kind of loses me in and out. I took a couple breaks while watching it, so that means I wasn't that engaged,
Invested.
invested in the character,
Right.
and then when her handler died, which was like an hour in, it
What?
went downhill with my attention span because there
Not
was an
Ghost.
hour left.
Not Ghost. Like,
I know. They killed him twice. I
why?
can't.
And that's exactly what I yelled out. Why am I losing Ghost a second time?
I know. It really hurt. And then she ended up kind of having a crush on him. Like I didn't even see what. I think also
Yeah.
the movie was just all over the place. They went to Cuba. Were these people Cuban? She kind of spoke Spanish, but not really. And then they were somewhere in Montana, Ohio, and then they were, I don't know, at the
Alaska.
was it Alaska?
I think so, yeah. Where
Well, I
the
was gonna say
yeah,
where the wall is. Shout out to Game of Thrones.
where the wall
I
is.
was so confused at all the terrains, all the how she gets to places.
Yeah.
I think there was like some inconsistencies in the stories also that it wasn't like an easy transition for me to like,
Yeah.
get invested in.
I will say that both of the villain characters, Ralph Fiennes and
Let's look them
Gael
up.
Garcia Bernal,
Uh-huh.
they I think did an amazing job. And I mean, those are two actors that I, really enjoy and respect. And so I think anytime they appeared on the screen,
Mhm.
magic. Loved it every single time. Um, and I don't know if Ralph Fiennes from The Handmaid's Tale. Others may know him as Voldemort from Harry Potter, but he was
Who was
Fred.
in Handmaid's Tale?
Fred, Serena's husband.
Fred!
That was Fred.
God, I hate him. In every single way. He does a great job.
Yeah, that tells
Consistently hate him.
you.
Oh,
That
Joseph. Yeah,
tells
yeah.
you a lot.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. When you hate a character, I think
They
that
did a
means
good
the
job.
actors did an amazing job. Because I hated him as Voldemort, hated him as Fred, like so good. And Gael Garcia Bernal, I think he was just so like deliciously psychotic that it was like
Did you say deliciously psychotic?
yes, because he was
And
just
then I'm the one with issues? Okay.
and so it was kind of like like you had like your psycho number one, psycho number two, like you read.
The mother was psycho number 3.
The
I
mother.
think Zoe was psycho number 4 because she went straight to her mother
Yeah.
thinking she can fight these guys.
Yes. But family. What are you gonna do?
It's a complicated thing.
It's complicated, even in the movies. So that I think there was a couple of takeaways for me that like I enjoyed. Like I overall, like I said, I enjoyed it. So 7.5.
Well, 7.5. I think that's a good rating.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts?
Ooh, one last thing that you mentioned: the
What?
Spanish J Lo.
My face is I'm hiding it. What are you gonna say?
J Lo, ma'am. Omari did a better job. He did. And I know because I've been in those shoes in the past. You can be so conscious about your Spanish and you're not good at it. Look, I've been there, but I
I
practice.
guess we're uncensored here, huh?
It just once you mentioned it just triggered like my memory, and I was like, ooh, because it was something that annoyed me. Kind of.
Yeah. I'm just gonna agree with you. I don't want anybody to think that I'm on the hate JLo train. I gave her kudos somewhere along this video. Um,
I
yeah,
can't. Oh,
that's an area that we would like for her to, you know,
yeah. Just work a little bit on.
just work a little bit on.
Yeah,
All right, so that concludes our review on The Mother. It's on Netflix now. Watch it or not. I mean, I think we're way more entertaining than the whole movie, but that's just me. Well, this is Hear Me Out. I'm E.
I'm Dee.
And thanks for joining. Remember, comment, subscribe, the
Like,
notification bell, join our community,
mhm.
chill with us. We're
Yeah,
funny. We're
disagree with
cool.
us. Whatever you need to do, you know? Yeah.
I know, and I really like J-Lo. Sort of, not really, but I'm here to appease and dislike and like. I don't know. All right, see you guys.